Annyeonghaseyo, welcome to the land of Korean cinema. If you're a regular watcher of this channel, then you know that I'm drawn towards psychological thrillers. And today's show is massively psychological, so let's talk about The King of Pigs, or Chae Jung-an. The show stars Kim Dong Wook, Kim Sung-kyu, Chae Jung-an, Chan-yoo, Shim Hyun-seo, Choi Hyun-jin, and of course, Lee Kyoung-young. Seriously, he's everywhere. Kim Dong Wook plays an ordinary guy who used to be a victim of high school bullying. After something triggers his memories, he starts killing the bullies of his past. He leaves messages at the crime scenes for his ex-classmate, who happens to be a police officer now. So the officer, along with Chae Jung-an's character, tries to stop the killer. But things are not this simple. The story goes simultaneously on two separate timelines, one in the present and one 20 years ago. Both are interesting, crucial, and pretty uncomfortable to watch at times. Not because it's bloody or gory, although I have to give props to the show for not holding back at all visually. But it's a highly emotional series, and all of the emotions are pretty unpleasant. One could say that The King of Pigs is about the dangers and the long-term consequences of being a victim of bullying. But it's much deeper than that. At the end of the day, this show is about trauma, the things we know about ourselves and the things we don't, because they're in the unconscious part of our being. I'm not afraid to say that I have suffered and continue to suffer because of the traumas I received when I was a child. I'm now at a place where I'm pretty much clear about everything that I can remember. I'm not saying I'm over them, I'm saying I know what they are. The problem is that these things start in the womb, and there are countless things which I simply can't remember. Those are the ones that haunt me the most. In my opinion, almost every human being deals with some kind of trauma, whether he or she knows it or not. Like I said, what we know intellectually is just the tip of the iceberg. So I'd like to encourage everyone, in case you feel like something is not right, don't be afraid to get professional help. Our lives are driven by things we don't even know about. We are depressed, heartbroken, tired, or disillusioned, and a lot of times it's all because of things that had happened to us when we were really young, or these are things we have suppressed in ourselves. The same thing happens to Kim Sung-kyu's character in the show. He's a very respected policeman, and he's actually doing his job really well, but when his old friend starts killing people, it stirs things up inside of him. Things he wanted to forget. Things that were lurking in the dark corners of his soul. That was one of my favorite aspects of the show, watching this character being completely demolished little by little. Like I said, this show is highly psychological, and Kim Sung-kyu did an amazing job portraying someone who's slowly going mad. Not only because of the recent killings, but because of his suppressed memories. His performance was my absolute favorite here. He was amazing. But I have to give props to the whole cast, everyone was really good. I was especially impressed by the child actors, they all did a fantastic job. Aside from Kim Sung-kyu, they were my favorites as far as acting goes. It was really easy to care for them, or hate them, if they were bullies. And I never felt like I was watching actors acting. They felt genuine and real. Such a great cast. And of course, there are a few surprises along the way. Kim Dong Wook as the killer seems like an ordinary guy, but he's actually much smarter than that. He's surprisingly stoic a lot of times, which I didn't expect from a character that has so much scars in his soul. Really interesting. What I also really appreciated was that the show kind of operates in a constant gray area. I mean, in the present day, it's really hard to root for anybody. It's also really hard not to root for everybody. It seems like either everyone is right or everyone is wrong at the same time. You really don't want anyone to get killed. At the same time, when you learn what they had done in the past, it's hard for you not to want them dead. I kept thinking about karma while watching this show. You know, they say that in the end people get back what they had done, but let's face it, this is simply not true. People with money, people in power, can get away with everything in this world. They will rarely be held accountable for what they've done. Kim Dong Wook's character is karma, in a way. But then the question arises, what is justice, really? I certainly don't think that killing people is justified. But I also think that people rarely realize the harm they had done to others. And it's especially interesting because most people in this show are not psychopaths. Maybe one or two, but most of them aren't. The show has a lot to say about herd mentality, actually. Which might be a way to survive in this world, to an extent, but you lose yourself and your integrity in the process. So if you're looking for a really good psychological thriller, look no further. It's exciting, it's gripping, it's well-paced, the storytelling is good, and the characters are interesting. And it's pretty brutal at times. It's heavy. And it's almost perfect. Chae Jung-an's character, while she is very important for the plot, I felt like could have been fleshed out more. She's kind of a plot device here, but I didn't really think she had a personality. Also, the show constantly cuts back and forth between the past and the present, and sometimes I wished it didn't. When things got really interesting in the present, the show cuts to the past, and vice versa. I understand, of course, that's how you keep the audience engaged, but sometimes I was like, no! Also, there's a sort of twist in the past, and you can see it from a mile away. It has something to do with a change that happens internally with one character. And I thought it wasn't very natural, it kinda happens at the drop of a hat. The change makes sense, it just happens way too quickly. Other than that, the show is fantastic. It's not easy to watch, it's not your Sunday matinee, but it's really incredible. I'm gonna give The King of Pigs 92%. Highly recommend it for those who like psychological stuff. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe, that would be of tremendous help. And if you feel like supporting this channel even more, my PayPal link is in the description. 다음에 또 봬요. 안녕히 계세요. Bye.